Welcome back, everybody, to what is week 5 of our weekly predictions here with my co-host, Mr. Graves. And last week was actually a very good week for both of us. The only week I believe that we've had both positive records, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a very shocking thing because usually we're terrible, but I'll let Mr. Graves tell you all the records. We actually did pretty good.
Yeah. We both went 10-6, which is pretty crazy because I feel like we had the most different picks last week.
Yeah, I think we had like 4 or 5 different last week, so it's kind of weird to see that we went 10-6. But
yeah. So the only bad thing is we didn't see a lot of change in the final scores.
Yeah,
because I'm still just one ahead. So it's 31-33 me, 30-34 you. So hopefully one of us can break even, so we at least are somewhat decent.
Yeah, so what you want to do this week is I need you to choose the underdog in every matchup for me. And that way I'll take the lead.
But that's the problem. I think
honestly, you'd probably do. Yeah, you'd probably do better with that. But let's go ahead and hop right into the first left column here with the AFC matchups, as we always do, with the Colts and the Broncos. The Colts are missing Jonathan Taylor, though, the Thursday night game.
Yeah. And the Broncos are also without Javonte Williams because he's out the rest
he's
of the
out.
year.
I saw he tore his ACL.
Yeah, which they signed Latavius Murray, but I doubt he'd be playing this quickly, at least in a significant role.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Both of these teams have been disappointing. I mean, it's kind of weird to call the Broncos disappointing still because they are 2-2 still. So they've won games, but overall, I'd say both of them have been disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I just feel like they have more pieces right now.
I'm gonna lean that way too.
Because I mean, the Colts, their biggest thing is they haven't leaned on Jonathan Taylor enough, and now they're not gonna have him at all.
They just haven't been able to get their offense going, and then losing Jonathan Taylor's definitely not going to be a help in getting their offense going. So I think I agree with you on that one. The Broncos are probably the way to go. And now we get into a Dolphins-Jets matchup. Now, is Tua going to be back? I doubt he will, but he could be.
I'm pretty sure Teddy Bridgewater is starting.
Because knowing the Dolphins, they might just bring Tua back in.
Maybe.
But Jets looked interesting.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, he started out bad, but he finished the fourth quarter. I think he went like 10 of 12 for like 120 yards and a touchdown.
I mean, he got the emote though, so I mean, obviously they were gonna win. So this is a weird one. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Dolphins on this. I think Teddy Bridgewater's good enough to get them to win this game.
I do think Teddy Bridgewater is another quarterback that gets too much hate, but I'm going to go with the Jets. I think Zach Wilson, they keep it rolling, and he performs better than he did. And
see, I'm not a big Zach Wilson believer, if I'm going to be honest. I think he's going to be okay, but I don't think he's going to be nearly as good as they thought he was going to be coming into the NFL.
Yeah.
But maybe, I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I'm going to still go with the Dolphins. I actually have the Dolphins at 4-1 now. I think I chose them over the Bengals last week, too.
Yeah.
Which it was a closer game than expected for a while there.
Yeah, and then they pulled away
after Tua got
injury.
had murdered, basically. Anyways, on to the next matchup with the Steelers and the Bills, and I'm going to go Bills.
Yeah, I think easy pick. Kenny Pickett, he looked good, except he only had 3 incompletions, and they're all interceptions, which I did look back. One was off the Hail Mary, his last pass of the game. The other one, Pat Freiermuth had it in his hands, and it got like knocked free, and they picked it off. And I think the other one may have been tipped or off the receiver's hands or something. So I think it's just unfortunate circumstances. You look and go, 3 interceptions, but I don't know. I still think the Bills' defense is going to be too much, and their offense can't be stopped, really.
The Bills are just honestly right now. The Bills are probably definitely the favorites for the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
I still think the Chiefs may have a step ahead of them, but I'm going to go Bills to win this one, definitely.
I think it'll be interesting. I hope we get to see them play, but in the playoffs at least, because that would be a very good game again. And I think the main thing is going to come down to how good the Bills' defense is. But this one right here, Bills and Steelers, is a pretty easy matchup to decide, honestly. And Texans taking on a probably shocking to everybody Jaguars team. If you told me they'd be
lost last week,
if you told me they'd be tied for first place right now, whether they lost by a lot or not in that division, I would have called you crazy.
Which, I mean, you look at their losses. Each game they lost a close one to the Commanders. They shut out the Colts. They blew out the Chargers, and they lost a one-score game to the only undefeated team in the league. So,
I mean,
I think it's a pretty safe pick. They're playing the last winless team, so I think it's an easy pick for the Jags.
Yeah, I think, Texans might keep their offense going a little bit, but I think the Jaguars pull away with this one. And
which I already saw something talking about Texans, which I hadn't heard anybody say, but it was like Texans fans are calling for Davis Mills to be benched, and everybody's like, for who?
Like it's gonna make a difference in your season. It's not like you're gonna go to the Super Bowl. You might as well keep starting him. I mean, he's a young quarterback, so I don't see any reason why they would bench him just to continue losing games, because we know Kyle Allen can be good, but he's not quite a Super Bowl quarterback. And so both of us go with the Jaguars on that one, and now we get into the Chargers and Browns.
This is a
weird matchup.
Tough one.
Yeah.
Remember their matchup last year was like, I think may have been one of the highest scoring games of the season. It was like 45-42 or something crazy like that.
I believe I remember that one.
The only difference is the Browns have Jacoby Brissett instead of Baker Mayfield, which, I mean, arguably he's been an improvement this season. But in that game last year, Baker, it was probably his best game of the season.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go Chargers here. I think they kind of – I feel like pretty much here on out, any team in that division needs to win every single game, because it's like they're all competing to get in the playoffs. And I don't know. I just feel like the Chargers will win this one.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're being realistic in that division, all four teams could easily be Super Bowl contenders if they played at their highest ability. I mean, the Broncos are a great team. The Raiders, I mean, they have Hall of Fame quarterback to Hall of Fame quarterback. They could be a Super Bowl team for the next 8 years with that type of guy at quarterback. But it's just a tough division. But I'm gonna stick with the Chargers as well on that one. I don't know how the Browns are gonna do even when they get Deshaun back. They'll be good, but it's kind of hard to support them. But I know they're your former favorite team. So
never my favorite team.
No. You're a Browns fan. Remember that. Never a Giants fan. Just an Eli fan. That's what it was. And now we go to the Bengals and the Ravens. And
I'm going Ravens here for the bounce back.
I'm going to stick with Lamar. He's been great this year. He had a down game last week, but I expect him to pick it back up. I think he had a touchdown pass and 2 interceptions last week, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Or I think he may have had 2 touchdowns. No,
I
think it was just 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because he only got about 13 points in fantasy. I think it was the 1 touchdown and then 2 interceptions. So, a down game for him, but so far this year he's looked close to his MVP self and that he looked like in the past.
Yeah, because he's tied for the lead in touchdown passes, and he's top 10 rushing, which we're both thinks he had at this point in his MVP season, which I feel like his numbers have even looked better this year than they did then. The only thing that's different is their record.
And even though, even if I didn't have him on my fantasy team, for whatever reason, I find myself pulling for him just because of how many people want him to be a running back instead of a quarterback. And I think that's 4 matchups now in a row where we all pick the same team. But down at the bottom here, we probably are going to select the same one, I imagine, again in the Chiefs-Raiders game.
I don't know. I know you like the Raiders a lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm a really big Devontae Adams fan. Like I said, Hall of Fame quarterback. So with all that in mind, I'm picking the Chiefs.
I already picked them.
4-1 on the season by my predictions. The Raiders fall. Honestly, if they lose this week, that could knock them out of the playoffs. Yeah, by their division.
Yeah,
that'd be.
It's definitely a long long way back.
Yeah, they'd have to almost win, I feel like, 90% of their games the rest of the season just to make it.
Yeah. Because even to get into the wild card, they'd have to at least go 8-5 the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be so stacked they need to get at least double-digit wins, and I think even just 10 wouldn't cut it.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a tight race for them this year. Now we get into our AFC, NFC matchups, and Lions, Patriots. We were talking about before the video how great the Lions have been offensively, but they're still sitting at 1-3 on the season.
Yeah. And the Patriots are. I haven't seen any update on who's starting for them.
I mean, I would imagine Bailey Zappi is starting, but
yeah, because I don't know if Brian Hoyer's back from his concussion. I can check real quick. But,
I mean, Bailey Zappi, I think when he had one touchdown, I don't remember him throwing an interception. I don't think he did.
You said Zappi?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one touchdown, no picks, but he didn't have 100 yards.
Yeah.
So.
I'm going to go with the Lions on this.
It looks like actually Mac Jones is practicing and Brian Hoyer is not.
So Mac Jones is going to be back and now Brian Hoyer's gone. Maybe they'll go the Tua route and start him.
Yeah. But no, I wouldn't be surprised if Zappi still started because a high ankle sprain, I feel like it takes more than 1 week to recover, but you never know. But I'm going to go with the Lions.
Yeah, I already picked the Lions. I think the Lions are actually good. They've got weapons offensively. Jamal Williams, I've been a big fan of him, obviously, as a Packers running back. And he's been killing it for him this year. So I'm excited to see him get some snaps as really I feel like across his career, he's always been part of running back rooms where he's the second guy. And I'm excited because, I feel like, they have DeAndre Swift, who obviously is a more better player overall than Jamal Williams, but I'm excited to see him finally get running back one snaps, it seems like.
Yeah, which I also feel like I'm pretty sure I think he leads the league in rushing touchdowns or is tied for it.
I mean, he's a good running back. I've been a big fan of him even since he left because out of our entire division, I don't dislike the Lions. I hate the Vikings and Bears, but I mean, I can support the Lions. But anyways, let's get into the second AFC NFC matchup here. The Titans and the Commanders.
This is another one, kind of like we're talking about the Raiders. I think Commanders need to win this or they have no shot, which I feel like they're so far back in their division already.
It's so crazy to say in that division. That division just a few years ago was the one where 6 games might have got you into the playoffs, it seemed like. Yeah. And now y'all have 3 really good teams in that conference. I don't know. Man. Titans or Commanders?
Titans and the Colts have been so inconsistent. Yeah. I have a hard time picking either one, but the Commanders have been the same way.
Yeah.
And I do know, I'm pretty sure Brian Robinson is supposed to make his debut, which I'm not sure after he's coming back from his non-football injury.
I just always, for whatever reason, I want to believe in Carson Wentz. Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Commanders on this one. I'm not extremely confident in it, but that's just where I'm going to fall on this matchup.
I'm not confident either, but I'm going with the Titans.
Yeah.
Myself.
I mean, either way, it could have went.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Derrick
Henry did finally have his return to form game last week. So.
Yeah. I mean, I could very easily see the Titans just demolishing them as well. So I really, but for whatever reason, I always find myself supporting Carson Wentz. I just feel like he gets so much hate for no reason, but he hasn't played that great this year, so I guess I could understand the hate for him.
But he's still. It's just crazy because remember he was like a top 5 quarterback through the first 2 games, and now he's like done almost terrible the last 2 games. So.
Just weird decision making all the time from him. Yeah. And now we get into the final column here with the NFC to NFC matchups and a London game, I believe. So this game will probably be on very early in the morning, I imagine, between the Packers and Giants. And nobody's going to see this coming, but I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah, as much as it pains me as a Giants fan, I'm going to pick the Packers as well. I just think the Giants are kind of beat up, have like our top receiver. The only receivers I think are healthy are Darius Slayton and David Sills.
Yeah.
Because Sterling Shepard is out for the year. Kenny Galladay, Wandale Robinson, and Kadarius Toney are all battling injuries. So,
and I am going to give myself a bit of a back door here because I would not be surprised if y'all beat us just because we always seem to play bad against the teams like the Giants who are injury riddled, or like last week against the Patriots who didn't even have their starting quarterback, for goodness sake. And we went into overtime with them. Like, it seems like the Packers, they take their foot off the gas when they feel like they're playing a team that they quote unquote should beat.
They play to the level of the team they're playing.
Yeah. And
which I don't know, I did see is Jair out this week?
I'm not entirely sure. I know he got a little banged up in the last game, but I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be back or not. I think it's probably one of those things where he's questionable because it says he was limited in practice today. So it's probably going to be one of those game time decisions, or I guess Saturday night, considering the game's going to be at like 8 a.m. or something like that. But y'all probably have success with Saquon because teams have been able to run it on us fairly successful this year. And
and the other thing I'm not sure about with the Giants is their quarterback situation because Daniel Jones might not start. And even last week, he only had 70 passing yards against the Bears.
Yeah. So. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting matchup. And now we get into the Bears-Vikings game.
Vikings.
I hate to choose the Vikings on anything, but I'm going with the Vikings because, like I said, I have the Bears at like 0-5 now in my selections, and
it's just, I don't know. This is the kind of game the Vikings would lose.
Yeah,
but the Vikings is weird because they are 4-1 by our predictions, but I don't know. I just feel like they're 4-1, but it doesn't sound like they've played as good as their record shows.
I just honestly think, and not just from hatred, I think wholeheartedly that the Bears are the worst team in this division.
Yeah.
I think the Lions are better than them, honestly. And a lot of it comes down to Justin Fields not being a good quarterback when it comes to throwing the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that I don't get is the Bears give him no chance to even throw it because I don't think he's passed the ball more than 20 times yet this season.
And, I mean, for the longest time there, the Bears, their offense always struggled, but I felt like their defense was good. And it feels like the last few years their defense has just been disappearing. And nobody's really been talking about them.
Yeah, which makes sense because who wants to play for a team whenever your offense is so bad? So
that is a good
lose
point.
Defensive players.
I mean, who wants to play for the Bears in the first point? Now as if you're high, you can play for the Bears, but if you're not, you can't. Now we get into the Seahawks and Saints. Geno Smith had a good game last week.
Yeah, DK got carted to the bathroom.
Yeah, I saw that one. A weird matchup here.
But Andy Dalton looked pretty good for the Saints last week too, which I'm not sure. I haven't seen any update on who's starting, but I would imagine he didn't play bad enough where they would be rushing Jameis back.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even notice the Saints were 1-3 on the season. Man, that's crazy. And the Seahawks, I feel like they've been terrible since that week 1, but they're tied for their entire division.
Yeah, if they win, they could
I know.
Be fighting for first.
That's crazy. So. I'm going to go with Seahawks just because I want Geno Smith to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints because I just feel like they may get some steam running here.
I think the Saints are the better team, but I find myself pulling for the Seahawks.
Yeah. It would be cool if they won the division.
Yeah, it would be very funny, honestly. Yeah. Just a very ironic thing for Russell Wilson to leave and the Seahawks win the division.
Especially if the Broncos didn't make it.
Yeah. And with their division, it's not the biggest or the lowest possibility that they miss it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I just find everybody always loves a good underdog story, so I'm a pull for the Seahawks in that one. And now we get into the Falcons and Buccaneers. Weird matchup.
Yeah, of course Tom Brady's got some other issues going on, but
I mean he's 100%. He's concentrated on the field so much he doesn't even have his wife anymore. He's devoted to the game. I think Cole Beasley's going to go out there and dominate for them.
About that.
Yeah. Scratch frame there. He's actually retired because Tom Brady kept talking to him about his divorce, probably. Falcons or Buccaneers?
I'm gonna go Buccaneers here.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers are better. I imagine they'll have a few of their receivers back, if not all of them back this week.
Yeah.
I know Chris Godwin was coming back, I believe.
Yeah, Mike Evans is back last week. He had a big game.
Yeah.
Even though they lost, but
it was
Julio
against the Chiefs. So. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Buccaneers like you on this one.
Yeah.
And now
we've got 49ers and Panthers.
Panthers.
49ers.
I know you're a big Baker Mayfield fan, but he's had a tough start to the season, to say the least.
Yeah. That's another one I've seen people saying Panthers need to bench him, and I understand from a perspective because he hasn't played great.
Yeah.
But it's also like, who are you going to bench him for? PJ Walker? Or go sign Cam Newton?
Sam Darnold's got mono. He's out for the season. I
missed that one.
I think the 49ers probably win this one and hopefully give it to Debo a lot. Because he
had a big game last week.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more confident in him now that Jimmy G's back. They seem to have a lot more chemistry than Trey Lance and Debo had. So it seems like they get him involved a lot more in the passing game as well, as opposed to strictly using him as a running back, which is what I feel like they were doing exclusively the first few weeks there. It's just a weird way to utilize a guy that you just gave a massive contract to.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're going to have a lot of momentum coming off that win against the Rams. And speaking of the Rams, we have the Cowboys taking the Rams on.
Man, this is another tough one, which it shouldn't be this tough because the Rams should be dominant, but they just have not looked good. They've made Cooper Kupp like 90% of their offense, which worked last year, but this year, I don't know.
I've been shocked with Cam Akers not getting a lot of touches, it seems like.
Yeah.
Like you
Matthew
said,
Stafford has been pretty bad.
Yeah, like you said, it seems like they just run their entire offense around where's Cooper Kupp at? Is he open? If not, let's just get sacked or throw an interception. But with that in mind, I'll never pick the Cowboys, so I'm going with the Rams.
It's just hard. I know Cooper Rush is 4-0 as a starter now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Rams here.
Cowboys are almost like my Boston Celtics of the NFL. I just hate them, so I'll never pick them to win. They could go undefeated and take on the worst team in the NFL in the Super Bowl, and I'd still bet on that other team. So both of us go Rams on that one?
Yep.
All right, and now the final matchup, the bird matchup here. We got the Eagles and the Cardinals. Eagles are 4-0.
Yeah, and the Cardinals have kind of been another team that's been a little inconsistent. They've had good games, they've had bad games. I don't know, I just don't see them being the team to take down the Eagles.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say the Eagles
keep
their streak going.
Keep their streak alive at 5-0. Jalen Hurts has looked really good. I guess all those people were right to bet on him to be the MVP or whatever this year. At the time, it really seemed out of left field. It was kind of random that they were saying he was going to be so good, and now I'm like, I guess they were right. He just looks amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And not only that, but they've got a player in the top 5 of each offensive category because Miles Sanders, I think, is 3rd in rushing. A.J. Brown is 3rd or 4th in receiving.
Yeah.
So.
It's just a weird season for that division over there, which after our predictions now, it kind of gets a little bit worse with the Giants and Cowboys at 3-2, and mine have the Commanders at 2-3. So it gets a little bit worse there, but still light years ahead of what it was just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, let me see. I think we both picked to keep the two teams, their streaks going. I think Texans stay winless for both of us, and Eagles stay undefeated.
I have Texans at 0-4-1 and Eagles at 5-0 now on my Week 5 predictions. one of these weeks, one of us has to go 16 for 16 or whatever. It's got to happen. Come on. We just have to do it.
I hope so.
Yeah. I don't think I ever will, but, it'd just be kind of one of those moments where I probably do it and then I never get a right game or pick a right game the rest of the year. Knowing my luck, that's how it would go. But last week was not bad for either of us, so hopefully this week can do the same. As I said last week, I've been enjoying these. They're pretty interesting to see how the season unfolds and how week 1 we're picking the Colts to dominate, and now I'm taking the Broncos over them, and I'm really not thinking twice about it.
What's another crazy one? I feel like who is it? I just saw the Lions over the Patriots.
Yeah,
would have been crazy to think.
I picked the Commanders to take down the Titans. Like, I know you picked the Titans, but still, I feel like it could be a close game, and a lot of people really would have never guessed that coming into the season. Just so many weird things going on this year. I feel like the only team that's bad and should be bad is the Texans. I guess you could count the Steelers.
And the Panthers.
Oh, yeah. I feel like, they really need to get Sam Darnold back to get back in their groove.
Yeah.
They're not throwing enough interceptions every game for my liking.
They're padding their stats too much.
We wouldn't want them to get too many touchdowns now. Maybe bring back Cam Newton to take some deep shots downfield. But yeah,
bring back Jake Delhomme while you're at it.
Jake Delhomme, Jimmy Clausen. You got Kerry Collins played there for a little bit. They have a lot of bad quarterbacks in Panthers history. Now that I think about it, probably is why they've been a bad team for a long time. Outside of that one Super Bowl year, really. Well, I guess they made the Super Bowl in 2003 too. So just a weird overall season, but as always, I've enjoyed making these videos. We will continue to kick them out every Thursday at 4 is usually when we try to drop them. I feel like that's a pretty good time to let them, get out just a few hours before the Thursday night game takes place. And if you enjoy this type of content, if you enjoy either of our channels, we both have the links to each other's channels in the description down below. Make sure to check out both channels. Thank you all for watching this. Hit the like button and subscribe on my video. I'll let Mr. Graves end this one out for us.
All right, and same here. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all hopefully next week. We both maybe could have winning records.
Yep. Hopefully undefeated by next week.
I don't know if we can be undefeated when we're down.
Man, let's just forget about the other games.
Yeah. It's a new week.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Peace.